Yes, there it is. Okay. Hello and welcome to Superconnectivity. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me, as always, is the hero of the greatest podcast generation.
Philly and Perich.
That's him. And is he not a hero? Is he not a legend in his own time? The man who, from nothing but pluck and determination, built an award-winning podcast empire.
We built this thing together. You, me, Miss Hellfire.
Yeah. Yes, we built this city
on rock and roll.
On rock and or roll. And or roll, depending on your needs. To each to their needs and to each to their ability. Okay, let's talk all the things that are things. So
there's this little thing going on this weekend called San Diego ComicCon.
Yeah, it's a little convention they got out in San Diego every year. A lot of nerds hang out. You know what is actually most interesting about San Diego Comic-Con this year? Not who is there, but who is not there.
Who?
Marvel really isn't doing a big thing this year.
Yeah, but do they say...
Lucas isn't doing a big thing this year.
Yeah, but isn't there like a Disney isn't there like a Disney event? I think they save a lot of their big stuff, at least movie-wise, for that anymore, doesn't it seem like?
Yeah, well, you know what it is, of course, I think that's like one of the most... It's like the biggest thing about these moments is that, everyone wants to control their own narrative. And basically, Disney has decided, I think they call it D24, or something along those lines.
Something like that, yeah.
Why D24? Goodness knows. But basically they said, we've got enough nerdery, we don't really need everyone else's conventions.
Well, yeah, that way you can that way you control it. You can shine the spotlight on what you want, and the MCU stuff, the Star Wars stuff is going to put butts in the seats. So, you can have your own, hey, look, our convention's huge.
Yeah, well, and for what it's worth, it would be,
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, it puts all of these, what's interesting is it does make you wonder about the idea of, old media and the death of old media and how independent con producers are now being essentially squeezed out by their corporate overlords. Now that, let me put it this way, now that AT&T Warner's is a thing, or as I like to call it, America Online. Now that America Online is pretty much the biggest company in the world, we're bringing it back, baby. I wonder if DC is going to be there next year. I wonder if they're... because, of course, and interestingly enough, among the people that aren't there this year is also Game of Thrones. And Game of Thrones is part of HBO, which is, of course, now part of the AOL family. Yeah, but
was that this year? I thought they like Game of Thrones. Did they push it back like the last season or whatever?
Well, if nothing else, you just have George R.R. Martin.
Ah, true.
And they do have something from George R.R. Martin, like one of his lesser products is there, and I think it's a Sci-Fi Channel thing or something.
Mm-hmm.
But when you, but not only is Game of Thrones not there, Westworld is not there. All of the HBO properties are not there.
Yes.
And so it is the suggestion that sure DC's there because it is the Comic Con, but it does suggest that AT&T may say, you know what, we can do AOL, the convention as well. And the online American convention. Will all be digital.
Comic-Con, the original idea was just to keep it comics, but again, with these big corporations gobbling up all these movie companies, it's like, well, again, do you want to share the spotlight with your competition? It's like, no, we'll have our own thing and spotlight all our own,
But you know what? I'll tell you this. This is your $1 billion idea, Time Warner. When you do the Online America convention, it's going to be an online convention.
Mm.
And all those rooms that people are spending 6 weeks in line for?
or more.
Now you can go to it as a premium service for $10 each. And if you could get into, this room for $10 each, or, $5 for the cheap rooms or whatever, and we'll still have a bunch of people in cosplay wandering around that we can have like little main room things that you can look at too. Honestly, that idea of that idea of an online presence for these conventions could be a real selling point, and I think that's where AOL should go next with this, with their dominance of the online world that is America and beyond.
All you big companies, AT&T and everyone else, start working on those 3D holograms. How much would people pay to like sit in your living room and have like 3D holograms where it looks like you're in the room?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure that's actually as cost effective as people think. It looks good in a movie.
Not yet.
If it works in real life. Yeah.
Not
yeah. Well,
yet.
that's the thing. As the scientist said, challenge accepted.
Yeah.
Okay, but I do think that is one of the big. I think that's actually the biggest story coming out of San Diego Comic-Con. Not what is happening at San Diego Comic-Con, but what is not, and how Disney is pulling away, and possibly America Online is pulling away. I'm going to just call them America Online until everyone just agrees to say that the company that is now the rival to Disney is America Online. They have all those CDs, man. 20 free hours, Phil, just for you. And you know what? That's how they're going to sell it. People are going to get all these CDs in the mail. It says 20 free hours of America Online on your disc, and you're going to put it in, and it's going to give you 20 free hours at the America Online convention next year. Mark my words. Words have been marked. Okay. Among the stuff that is coming out of San Diego Comic-Con, and to be fair, it's not that Marvel isn't there. It's not that Time Warner AOL isn't there. Because of course, as we saw that too much to Lilith's chagrin yesterday, there's been a lot of DC news coming out.
Yes.
But we also got news about the new Iron Fist series.
Yes, season 2 drops September 7th.
Because they're trying to debuck it.
Yes. But like we were talking right before we got on here, yeah, they did mention Typhoid Mary, the Daredevil villain, is going to be in Iron Fist season 2.
So, and I wonder about this because, as I understand it, like Typhoid Mary's thing is she's like suffers from multiple personality disorder,
and she has like a bunch of like she has telekinesis and pyrokinesis, yeah.
But only when she's in her.
Yeah, and
so she's kind of, interestingly enough, as an interesting way to look at it, she's kind of a Hulk character.
Kind of, yeah. And
she has that split personality, and when the other personality comes out, she has all these powers.
Yes.
And I imagine if they're going to be playing that, there's going to be a lot of play with that, where whoever the character who is Typhoid Mary but isn't Typhoid Mary is going to have a relationship with Danny Rand of some sort. Not necessarily a physical relationship, but like some sort of business relationship where they don't see who she's going to be. That's my prediction.
Maybe. I was wondering if even she was going to try to seduce him, because that's what Typhoid Mary did when she first appeared early on. But I just saw, again, right before we jumped on, they announced, I guess, Misty Knight will appear in Iron Fist Season 2.
Well, yeah, why not? You might as well use the actress. You got her.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I wonder if those two were dating in the comics. I wonder, are we going to go that route?
Typhoid Mary and Misty Knight?
No, Misty Knight and Danny Rand.
I know. I'm picking. I mean, that's the thing that's interesting. I think that in the comic book Netflix universe, there are things that we are looking for and they give us lip service to, but then I think they're more than willing to pull away from. Like we got our Luke Cage, Jessica Jones hookup.
Yeah.
But that really ended quickly. And it was really mind control induced. I think that there's a quality to it where, quite frankly, we may find ourselves being led down a primrose path there. Because not for nothing, wasn't Misty and Luke having a thing at the end of Luke Cage, and then they kind of rewrote that out to make it Night Nurse.
Well, wait, the first season?
Yeah, the first season.
I know they slept together. What was it, episode 1 maybe? But then I think after that, yeah. I mean,
possibly, but
yes, I think for like the first episode of season 1. But after that, nothing happened. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't. I still have 2 episodes to go on Luke Cage season 2. I'm just like, now that Claire's out of the picture, would those two get together? But I don't know.
Oh, I didn't know Claire was out of the picture. Okay. Spoilers, Philip. Spoilers.
Oh, sorry. It's the 3rd episode.
And to be fair, I never... Yeah. Really? That's in the 3rd episode?
I think so.
Okay. Oh,
yeah, it's pretty early on. That's why. Sorry, I thought you had seen that. Okay.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't really feel the Night Nurse Luke Cage hookup from the start, so...
Yeah.
I'm just waiting to see Deadly Nightshade. That's my whole thing. The Deadly Nighthawk. That's what I want. Okay. Yeah, but so these things are coming. We have seen a lot from DC. We've seen a lot we've seen a little from Marvel Netflix, at least. The beloved bastard child of the MCU. I'm not quite sure how because certainly the Netflix series are beloved, but they are in that weird place where even they aren't acknowledging Thanos yet. So, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they're like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is like the firstborn.
Mm-hmm.
It sort of has all these rights and privileges attributed to them. And the other people maybe are better, but they don't get the same rights and privileges that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. gets.
I just wonder if they're just like with the timeline, and I think did I hear something a while back like they shoot so far in advance or something that it's just like they don't know where their stuff fits in, so they're just like that's
always a thing. Yeah, because you can't have that kind of a spoiler, filter back, and that's always the problem with the TV shows and the cinematic universes. Interesting thing about we did get an interesting possible spoiler for Avengers 4 Electric Boogaloo, which is we have Steve in his World War II Army uniform. Did you see that? And there's speculation, is he going back in time? Is he going to get that dance with Peggy? Is it just one more time where they just have him have a crazy dream sequence?
Unless, it could be time travel, but unless they do go into that Soul Stone and since it is like a kind of like you appear as like how you see yourself in your head,
Well, you know what? I'm going to give you one better. It comes at Captain America's court-martial. Because he was never officially discharged from the army.
Oh, maybe.
And at his court-martial, of course, he has to be in proper uniform. Doesn't get to wear his circus monkey outfit. And his proper uniform is Captain Steve Rogers. They're going to make the point that as a United States soldier, he is being charged with desertion. And they're going to have a night, and this is probably how we're going to open up Avengers 4. Because Red Hulk survived. You know that General Ross survived. So it's going to open up with the court-martial of Steve Rogers and James Rhodes. And we're going to see them both in that uniform. And then, of course, what's going to happen is Jen Walters will enter in and make the point. Objection, Your Honor.
I don't know.
Because if you're going to say that he's still a soldier, you owe him a lot of back pay.
Yeah.
And that's how we get our Captain America hotline.
Well, I was going to say, do you think they're going to quibble over politics with the state the world's in?
Given what Ross said in the first part of what do you call it? Infinity War. Yes, I think Ross is going to want to hang this up. Maybe we're even going to get our John Walker call out.
Maybe I just didn't know if maybe they'd be like, okay, we're going to give you guys pardons, but if you could save half of humanity, maybe we'll let you slide this time.
Half of humanity's already been saved, Phil. You know,
Well, the other half, Charlie.
the other half. Yes. Well, we're going to have to see how that plays out. An interesting thing that has also recently come out, which is this is my rant. So, was it Kevin Feige or Feige basically said that yes, half of all animals were killed too.
Oh, yes.
Now, okay.
So basically, I know what you're going to say. It's like, okay, you killed half the life in the universe to preserve resources, but if you're killing animals, that's half the stuff you're eating anyway.
Exactly. And I don't know if this is. There's a couple ways you can look at that. One is be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Because maybe Thanos didn't think when he was making that snap. Maybe he just said half of all life. And not realizing that the Gauntlet's going to say, "Really?" I think
the most. I think probably the theory that's probably the most true is Kevin Feige said that, and no one went, "Oh crap! Why did I say that? I didn't even think."
Yeah, well, I mean, it's entirely possible that he's a suit who just didn't really think through the story, and he was going by what was in the comics. But what was in the comics is a very different story than what we have in the movies. But what is an interesting point of order then is it does raise the question that I had predicted that a drum-playing pin-particle-infested ant at the end of Ant-Man may have more importance than you think.
Maybe.
Because it's possible beings that are filled with that quantum essence of pin particles have an immunity because they are outside of reality. And the reality stone can't affect them because they violate space and they violate time and they violate reality. The only thing that could affect them is a soul, but ants don't have souls.
Oh
yeah, fight me, nerds. Anthony.
All right, let's get down some of this list before we get to the gun stuff. Before we run out of time for the. Oh, did you see? We talked a little about the Joker movie last night. With Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah. One bad day.
Did you see who's in talks for to possibly get cast in that also?
Are we getting a Harley Quinn or? Oh no,
I don't know, but that's.
You're gonna say Zachary Quinto?
No, supposedly they're in talks with Zazie Beetz, who played Domino in Deadpool 2.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know who she'd be playing, but I mean...
Well, they could make her Harley Quinn, why not?
Or, if it's like an origin story, if they do him pre-Joker, she could play his wife of, whoever he is before he becomes the Joker or something.
Well, that might be neat. It would be really interesting if the Joker origin movie isn't the Joker, and it's like, Shecky Green,
or
whatever his stand-up comedian name was,
Yeah, or she's like maybe she's a proto Harley Quinn, before Harleen Quinzel came along.
Who knows? Honestly, I'll like it when I see it, or I'll hate it when I see it. It's like when you talk about it's the Joker. First off, I'm not a DC fan, so it's not like, and I'm not even that much of a Joker fan.
Yeah.
So it's not even like I'm going to get that excited about, we're doing the Joker origin story.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, okay, that's fine to throw good money after bad.
But
when you still don't have a unified universe, that's an interesting way to play it.
But there was a bunch of Marvel Comics news. I guess they're bringing back the Marvel Knights imprint from like the late 90s.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah,
I guess it's they're starting with a one-shot special in November, but guess who they said's running the show for Marvel Knights?
Who's running the show for Marvel Knights?
Donny Cates, writer of Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Oh! Well, I enjoyed that first issue of Cosmic Ghost Rider, so that might be fun.
So,
you know what?
That line was what? Daredevil, Black Panther, Punisher, was there a Black Widow? Because they said it's going to be like the same character, so I guess, Donny Cates working on with those characters.
Well, that's interesting.
I wonder if Cosmic Ghost Rider is going to show up on in Marvel Knights.
Yeah, or you know what I was actually thinking is that the Marvel Knights line in many ways is I mean, with your Punisher and your Daredevil, you know, it does relate to our, and was very influential on our Netflix universe.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me wonder if we're going to get a lot of that Netflix universe played out in there, because that actually leads me to something else, which was the recent story that IDW is going to be producing a line of Marvel books.
Yes, like an all ages books or something. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you know what struck me about that? So IDW is known for licensed products. That's what they do. They do licensed products. They do stuff that's based off cartoons, stuff that's based off of media from other places, and they sort of create their own stories for it. And it struck me that one of the most interesting things they might want to do with IDW is to start a canonical MCU line of books.
Yeah.
Because I know that they had mentioned a couple of characters they were doing, and they all were MCU characters, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was like, Spider-Man, Black Panther, Avengers, yeah.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder if these are going to be, canonical characters in that MCU universe. That would be a very interesting thing. You know, one of the things that my big hope for the IDW thing is that we're actually going to be able to also explore 1970s Marvel universe.
I was gonna say, hey, if they have the right to do Marvel stuff, and you know they do work off other properties, McGee Files.
Yeah. Well, because I do think, I don't know if Batman 66 is an IDW or if that is straight DC, but I think that things like Bionic Woman meets Wonder Woman 77 is IDW. I think there is a lot of those crossovers do fall under the IDW banner. You know, and so it makes me wonder if these guys have been listening and say, man, we got to do that McGee Files. How can we do this and not have to pay Charlie a royalty? So we'll go to IDW and say that they were planning on doing it all along. Going to fake the paperwork. And I'm fine with that. I always say these ideas are free to Marvel.
Hire Charlie Esser. He works for part-time wages.
Hey, all I want to do is see the work, you know?
Yeah.
If I had wanted to write the McGee Files and I had the gumption to do it, I would have done it by now. But I didn't, and that's my failing. It's not theirs. They might have been waiting and say, you know what, Charlie isn't going to write this damn thing. He keeps on talking it.
Yeah.
But he's goofing off. He's doing podcasts. He's drinking apple juice. He is not being a responsible, unpaid employee of the fan network. And so they said, you know what, let's just pay IDW $1 million instead of Charlie Esser. Have them write it. I blew my shot, Phil. I blew my shot.
Speaking of high numbers, they did announce pre-orders for Fantastic Four #1 are like over 400,000 or something.
Okay, well that's a good number
for pre-order.
I wonder how many of those are. Yeah, I wonder how many of those are collectors
variants.
Yeah, it's like, you know,
because they're just like with Amazing Spider-Man #1 and a couple other books. Yeah, there's like a ton of variant covers for it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. If it keeps the business afloat.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of look at hard copy collecting as a weird kind of fetishistic market, since so much comic book imagery is online now.
Yeah, but I still think even if it's only like $1 or $2, like your paper book will still be worth something one day. Not as much as like the the stuff that decayed and stuff. But yeah, I mean, digital files aren't going to be worth 2 cents.
Yeah. No, but I was listening to the Wait What guys doing the Baxter Building this week, and they were talking about like the drop-off and the Fantastic Four numbers during the DeFalco run, and there's a whole argument about, what's driving these numbers in 1992. Is it just that this is the peak of the market? Is it and like they're having this fall off at what should be their peak, and it was a whole thing, and they kind of went back and forth on it. But it did bring up this point about how a lot of times these big numbers are just driven by people that are buying. They're not buying one issue, they're buying multiple issues, like people who go to the movie more than once.
Mm-hmm.
Except when you go to the movie more than once, it's because you can't just reread the movie you just saw.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know what I'm going to read if I read the book that has the variant cover, but That's me. Want to talk about Gunn now?
Sure. Oh, but I was going to say,
get to books.
There's one thing, one last thing from San Diego. They had a big Spider-Man panel, and they announced all the books. You know, Spider-Gwen's becoming Ghost Spider, and the whole big Spider-Geddon thing. There's going to be like a couple miniseries. There's going to be a Spider-Girls miniseries with Annie Parker's going to get to team up with Mayday Parker.
Oh, well, that'll be interesting.
Yes. So I think it's like
isn't Annie still a preteen?
Yeah. I don't know if she's
like maybe Ben's age, right? She's like 12, maybe 13 at most.
Maybe they did a time jump. I'm trying to remember how. Yeah, she might be 12, 13, maybe a little older. She might be high school. I forget, but
okay. Well, anyway, that'll be nice. She'll get to meet Uncle Ben. That's nice.
And supposedly
you're the Uncle Ben that my dad always goes on about.
And supposedly they're talking Superior Octopus. Supposedly the writer's saying, "Oh, it's gonna be shocking. Every 5 pages, you're gonna get shocked about."
Okay, well, that's. I mean, sure, why not? I mean, what are they gonna say? It's actually not that good of a book. It's kind of boring. But, you know, we hope you'll buy it, you know. We like it. We wrote it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you say, oh, you'll be shocked every 5 minutes, that's, you know, I'm not going to say that's a bold statement, is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that's a statement.
All right. Let's get the gun.
Okay. Yeah, so Gunn got fired today.
James Gunn, yes. He will not be directing.
Fired.
Will not be directing any more Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, okay, so basically what it is, for those who don't know, James Gunn said some, you know, I don't know, stupid things on Twitter.
Like 10 years ago, I think, wasn't it?
Well, the most recent one that was kind of suspect was actually recently.
Oh.
The most recent one they said the most recent one in May of 2018. So like last month, he said, yo, at Jared Leto, now that you've slid into the DMs of every female model age 18 to 25, what would you say your success rate is? And then he, I'm sorry, someone else had said that, and then Gunn responded, he starts at 18 on the internet. So he was suggesting that Jared Leto bandies about with young women under the 18. So that was the most recent one. Now, of course, that's a snarky, snide comment.
Yeah.
Part of that was 2011, where he said, I'm doing a big Hollywood film adaptation of The Giving Tree with a happy ending. The tree grows back and gives the kid a bee job. And another time he said, I remember my first NAMBLA meeting. It was the first time I felt okay who I am. So these are... I saw
like one or two others from years ago. The one was like, "Oh, laughter is the best medicine. That's why I laugh at people with AIDS and stuff." And supposedly, I think that one was like from 10 years ago or something. I'm like, dude, you knew that was offensive 10 years ago. Don't play like, oh, it was so long ago.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, a lot of these aren't that old. I mean, not for nothing, Tristan is older than some of these tweets.
Yeah.
So they're not like they're that old, you know.
No,
it's like,
but I'm saying even the ones like they're saying, oh, there's some might be like 10 years old. 2008, you knew. I mean, this isn't like this is like 1972 tweets. You knew.
Well, yeah, and he did write a very long apology tweet. Basically, it says, "Look, you know, I'm trying to be edgy." Trying to get the hip young millennials to like my stuff, kind of thing, and it's pretty weak sauce. But what one can also say is, this guy is a guy who you got from trauma.
Yeah,
you know, the world of trauma is a world where these kinds of things. And let me tell you something. I'm a guy who has worked in that kind of B film world. You know, if you haven't seen it, please do. It's a great film. Blitzkrieg Escape from Solid 69. My magnum opus as an actor. You know, I've been in that world. I know about that kind of, you know, controversial, real, untoward kind of humor and comedy that gets done in there. But when you put it on your own Twitter account, you're making yourself the subject of the story. But of course, it's not like Disney didn't know.
Yeah, no. I mean,
that's the thing. It's like Disney knew all this. It's just that, you know what it is? I think that it coming out now is much less about, because Disney canned him right away, which actually makes you think that there's a lot more to this story than just the tweets.
Yeah, I mean, stuff like that and the Chris Hardwick stuff, it's like people are like, oh, you know, it was just some tweets. But yeah, maybe there is stuff they discover behind the scenes and they can the people before the rest of the stuff comes to light.
Well, you know, it's like we've said about the Scarlett Johansson stuff. It's like everyone's like, oh, they don't want to make a Black Widow film because they don't want to make a film with a strong female protagonist. And it's like, well, no, it's just that the person you want us to put all our money on keeps on doing stupid things and then saying stupid things about why she's doing that stupid thing, you know? And it's like, you know, it's not that we don't want to make a Black Widow film. We just maybe don't want to make it with Scarlett Johansson.
But I mean, the whole James Gunn thing, it's like, it used to be like drugs or a sex scandal. It would take down Hollywood careers. Man, Twitter is the Hollywood killer now.
Well, you know, no, because that's the thing. It's like, you know...
Well, they're hanging it. Twitter's giving them the platform to hang themselves with their words.
Well, yeah, well, what I'm going to say is, like, drugs didn't bring down Robert Downey Jr.
No.
Missing call times brought down Robert Downey Jr. No one had a problem with him being a drug addict. They had a problem with him not showing up for work on time.
Yes,
You know, to quote Keith Richards to the one of the guys from Oasis, it's like, dude, I slept on a chandelier last night and I got here on time. You know, because you know, he says, oh man, we partied a little hard, that's why we're late, because he was doing something with this. And Keith Richards was like, dude, you're talking to the Rolling Stones. Do you know how much stuff we've done that you haven't even thought of? And we're always here on time because we're professionals. Because if you want to be a drug-addled, crazy person, that's fine in show business. But show up on time, hit your mark, and do your work. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes to slack off. That's why Charlie's losing all that McGee Files money. Because he's a slack off.
You know what I was thinking when I heard this? I'm like, I wonder if like these big companies like Disney and stuff are gonna like start putting. Can you put stuff in their contracts like, okay, we're gonna sign you to this like multi-million-dollar deal, but you have to scorch earth your all your social media accounts. You can keep your followers and stuff, but anything you've written up.
These were all deleted tweets.
Oh,
to be fair, these were all deleted tweets.
Well, didn't he start deleting them now because, you know, people started screen capping stuff and he's like, oh, crap, I better.
Well, I mean, they've all since been deleted. That's
what I'm saying. Before people discover this stuff, or Disney and people and companies like that are going to be like, okay, you got to like wipe your social media now and then start from scratch.
It's totally possible they would, but you know, the fact of the matter is that people take these screen caps. Not for nothing, there is the Wayback Machine. Are you familiar with the Wayback Machine? Okay, the Wayback Machine. It's basically the Internet Archive. Where basically this group of people just periodically take pictures of the internet.
Oh yeah, like
all of it. And so stuff that's been removed offline, you can go there. You can say, well, what was on that site in 1979 or not 1979? Like what was So for example, there's certain sites that they realize that this has become too controversial. They'll take that item off. But you say, well, what was that item that got taken off? You can go back through the Wayback Machine. You can go to that website from 1998 and say, oh, here's everything that was on that site. And you can go and see that content because they've recorded it for all posterity.
Yeah, but I mean, you can make it harder for people to find this stuff, though.
Well, yeah, but the fact of the matter is that, like I said, it's not like Disney's lawyers didn't have someone go through James Gunn stuff. And what they probably said was these are all a bunch of stupid jokes. But the fact of the matter is, no, because here's the thing. The fact of the matter is these are stupid jokes.
Yes.
These are stupid jokes.
I mean, if you wanted to fight it, I was going to say, because I said before about putting stuff in contracts, but could a lawyer fight this and say, yeah, they're tasteless jokes, but it's covered under his First Amendment rights, though?
Well, of course they are, but you don't have a First Amendment right to a job.
No.
And it is an at-will contract, and he probably had a bit of a golden parachute if he didn't get picked up for the third Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, I'm sure he was paid handsomely for the first two.
Well, yeah. Well, no, but like I said, I don't know how many contracts they had him in for directing. I don't know if they seal the directors as hard as they seal their actors. And so they have him in the contract, and if they're releasing him, he's probably getting some kind of cash out of the deal, which is fair enough, And I love you. I love you too. Anyway, I'm sorry, kids are distracting me. So the thing is that Disney knew this was a risk with him. They went along with him, and that they're cutting him out so fast actually suggests that there's more out there. And this is and to put it to you simply, it's entirely possible that Disney basically said to him, here's my actual conspiracy theory. Disney realized something about him. They came to him and said, look, you have all these tweets. Say what? Release the tweets. We'll Me Too you. And you'll give a nice heartfelt apology to your fans. We'll say, we cannot tolerate this. You'll walk away. You'll get your golden parachute. The way all execs get when a deal goes bad. And he's going to walk away. He's still going to get to work. And they're going to be properly insulated if anything else comes down the pike for him.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously he got implicated in something that we don't know about yet. Because, that's why you have a lawyer on retainer. I know that everyone thinks that, Danny Rand pays Hogarth all this money to just sit around and do nothing. No. Hogarth is actually constantly scrubbing Rand files, looking for every buried bone. Now, how many she brings to Danny's attention, that's up to her. But the fact of the matter is that someone is always looking for these things. Someone is always trying to figure out, okay, where's our liability in this? Where's our liability in the next thing? Because, of course, if you're a lawyer, you have to justify your existence.
Yes.
And fortunately, people like James Gunn give you lots of reasons to justify your existence.
Yeah.
And, he probably had a ticket to Thailand recently, because it sounds like maybe his joking about Nambla is maybe not as jokey as it should be, So, he probably crossed some lines that maybe we can't prove but are enough to really tar you. And Disney's basically giving him the chance to give his heartfelt apology and walk away with some money. And we're all going to make sure that this goes to bed real quick. And the fact of the matter is, I think that James Gunn isn't making any further statements after his apology and getting fired. Says that, he's basically saying, I'm off to Costa Rica to enjoy my retirement. To just make this be in the past before anything else happens.
I think it's a Warner Brothers plot.
Well, you know what? Until he doesn't want to be Cosby'd.
No.
You don't want to be that beloved character who thought he was bulletproof. Because nobody's bulletproof. That's the point. Even if your name is Gunn, you're not bulletproof. There you go. Puns. Okay, but that's my theory. Do you have any other thoughts on James Gunn and his marvelous adventures in...
No, just that it was a DC Warner plot to take to punch some holes in the MCU, but no.
Yeah, well, no, like I said, did Warner's dig this up? I mean, it's possible. But,
I think they said something about some right wingers doing it, but I was like, could it be Warner's? I don't know.
Well, I mean, that was actually one of the things I was thinking, because he does have a lot of tweets like, Trump is stupid, which is fair. And it's fine that he does that, and maybe there were some people on the right who did, let's see what he's done. Let's see what he's grabbed in the past.
Well, I think the story was like, some of these right wingers want to prove that there's like this culture of pedophilia in Hollywood, and it's like, oh, hey, James Gunn, there you go. There's our proof.
Yeah. But like I said, I think that the fact that he got Me Too so fast, and he went quietly, says that, like I said, that Disney was waiting for it, and Disney had their contingency plan in place. And, he's not the only person that can, work with a talking raccoon. And if his brother quits in solidarity, they'll, because it's James Gunn's brother who plays Rocket Raccoon, correct?
No, that's Bradley Cooper plays Rocket.
Oh, I'm sorry, the physical person, I thought.
Oh, maybe.
Well, I think James Gunn's brother is the other. Maybe that. I thought James Gunn's brother was in there somewhere, but
maybe,
that's fine.
maybe.
No,
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper is the voice of Rocket.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, they're gonna make poor Bradley Cooper squitch down. Sorry, Bradley. Yeah, it's it is what it is, and it's not that big of a deal as far as Disney's concerned. It's basically they had the contingency plan in place because they knew who this guy was when they hired him, and they basically said, you know what, so long as it doesn't get out of hand, we can work with it. And as soon as it got out of hand, they was like, nope, sorry, you're out of hand. Had he done other things prior to that, maybe he might have had more power, but he probably didn't.
Yeah.
Like I said, his most recent, sex tweet was 2018 of May of this year. So, there you go.
People, if you get these high-paying gigs, especially in the view of public, keep your mouth shut. Just be like, oh, hey, I'm making a new movie.
But you think about it, like a lot of this goes back to him having a public feud with Jared Leto, who isn't a cool person either, and it's like, really, this is the hill you want to die on, is picking on Jared Leto. Honestly, yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, you want to talk comic books, Phil?
Sure.
Okay. Did you read Avengers this week?
Yes, sir.
I did.
Avengers number 5.
I liked it. Avengers number 5, where we find out that we are just God vomit. Yeah, honestly, it's cool. I don't know. I guess, like, on some level, there's this question of we have this story of the Celestials in the Marvel Universe, and we're basically, Bendicizing them here.
Mm-hmm.
And I do wonder how much of that is going to get reworked. Because nothing they've said so far necessarily precludes anything else that we have as canon.
Yeah.
So the fact that, there's a bunch of God vomit all over, space God vomit all over Earth, and that's why Earth has so many superpowered beings, doesn't preclude the fact that after the fact that Celestials didn't come here with the purpose of saying, well, okay, so there's all this God vomit all over everything. Let's see what that does,
And
Since what the Celestials actually do for a living is still up in the air.
And didn't the Kree show up after a while and start tinkering with stuff and create, Eternals or humans? And it's like, hey, maybe that's why the Kree showed up. They're like, hey, we got some celestial vomit to work with. Let's work with this.
Well, not for nothing. It was already established that the Celestials had essentially created Eternals among the Skrulls as well. Because the Skrull pantheon includes like the progenitor mother goddess of shape-changing Skrulls and the Eternal Skrull who does not change shapes but is an Eternal.
Mm-hmm.
Because Skrulls didn't always change. We got a bunch of great mythos. Thank you, Bendis, for the mythos on the Skrulls. He really gave them a well-rounded religious background, which I always love in comic books. I don't know if that was actually Bendis, but he was the guy in charge of Secret Invasion, so we'll take it.
He loves you.
He was in charge of Secret Invasion. I've never had the anger at Bendis that most people have.
He did some good work, but just some of his more recent decisions are just like,
Yeah, well, you know what it is? It's like we've always said, DC bought an Edsel. DC bought something that they thought was going to be great, and it's like, and he's basically burning them. Where he's like, okay, you want me to just completely recreate your signature character, and I can do whatever I want?
oh, good Lord.
You really should never tell a creative you can do whatever you want.
Bendis.
Well, no, DC.
Yeah, I know.
You tell Alan Moore you can do whatever you want. It's like, oh well, what if what if all of the characters are rapists and sex fiends?
You and your ongoing feud with Alan Moore. Oh, geez.
Yeah. Well, no, that's what they said. Alan Moore, yeah, go do whatever you want, Alan Moore. You're popular. But for what it's worth, at that time in comics, that was a thing that these companies did, was they basically told the they'd give some young upstart artist or writer, okay, here's some characters, it's your bed to poo, and stole that from the Wait What guys. But this is the thing, you do, and sometimes it'd make something great and brilliant and groundbreaking, and a lot of times they would, poo the bed. And sometimes you realize that, they did both at the same time, like Alan Moore. Brilliant and groundbreaking, but he also pooed the bed.
Before we run out of time, did you read Thor number 3?
I did read Thor number 3.
Go with Loki's strengths. Kill me. Okay.
Yeah. Well, what I gotta know is, like, how is this well, I guess it's sort of a noble death. I don't know. It's not very. I mean, it's interesting. I like the Thanos reveal at the end. That was fun.
Yes, I knew when I read that last page. I'm like, oh, Charlie's gonna like that.
Yeah, well, it's nice to see Thanos getting work. Apparently, Thanos has been doing a lot of stuff lately. I don't read as many comic books as I used to, And
that Thanos, he's so superficial. He's like, hey, I found a better looking personification of death to go after.
Well, he found a personification of death who isn't a tease.
Yeah, oh, yes, true.
Let's be honest here. Death is
throwing that Wade Wilson in his face,
Yeah, well, although, I mean, I don't, well, Wade's kind of a distraction for her because, she's going to, Gaia has Wolverine, Death has Wade Wilson. There is that, there's that dichotomy between the two. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I want to see those two get in an apartment together. Because they are sisters.
Yeah.
I really want to see those two. I would love to see Gaia and Death hanging out in the West Village. I think that would be a great comic book series. And they're just sisters who are like, had that real frenemy kind of relationship where it's like, you and everything has to be alive. Well, why do you want everything to be dead?
Ah!
It's like, yeah, I know, that's our thing. It's like, and Guy will be like, hey, I didn't, I was sad when we had to kill the dinosaurs, but I understood it as part of the cycle. I just want everything to die, man. There has to be a cycle. You have things die, I have things live.
Hires, man, Marvel.
Yeah, I think someone else has had this idea. I think a lot of people have had this idea.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that Gaia and Death are these sisters, are these twin forms, and they're not necessarily bound by their genders either,
Mm-hmm.
As we'll remember, Death was also Crackers the Clown. That was in Fred Hembeck Destroys the Marvel Universe. And for the life of me, I want someone else to have Death take on the Crackers the Clown persona just to say, yep, I can be Crackers the Clown too.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Honestly, the whole thing of, well, how do we kill someone who's already dead? It's like, well, you must break their spirit. It's like, we've been living in hell. With one ounce, we can say it on the podcast. We've been living here for thousands of years. Really, you're going to break our spirits. You're cute. You're really cute. And it goes to that thing that, like Thor is like, people in hell, we're not valiant warriors at their time. It's like, back with you, Thor. Don't say we weren't valiant warriors. We just maybe ran away from the fight because we realized that the fight was going to be our death. But the fact of the matter is, like, we're dead now. It's not like that's really a hindrance to us anymore.
Yeah.
We removed the one thing that made us not be valiant warriors. So why don't we go overwhelm these people? Because every time they kill us, they just increase our ranks. As we saw in the final battle before the universe got destroyed the last time. Before the last Ragnarok. Yeah. So, I mean, it was a good book. It was interesting. I loved the Loki. It was good book on Loki. Tyr did not want his righteous stash cut off. And Scourge is I like Scourge in this. He's very chill. Scourge. It was a great Scourge book, and Thor is, of course, always awesome.
Oh, the flower girl.
Yes, Thor is best flower girl, much better than Goat.
Yes.
And just the reference of the derisive references to the goat just made me think of the latest season of Glow, now on Netflix, not Spawn. It's a lot of fun if you like wrestling and comedy and drama. It's actually a really good series. The Netflix Glow. It is not the actual Glow story. It is a made-up Glow story, but it's still a fun way to reinterpret the events of Glow within a larger context. So that's nice. What else did I read? I read Iron Man. Man, so this whole arc of Iron Man, is it all going to be about people like dating each other?
Who maybe?
Because you didn't catch that? That everybody is like flirting with other people throughout the whole thing?
Oh, yeah.
It's like the old robots guy is now he's going to like make a play for Tony's mom. And, who was it? Trying to think who made the pass at Jocasta. And not Machine Man. And why is Machine Man not purple? I don't like that. Don't do major redesigns like that, Marvel. Don't do that.
They kind of made him that look in Carol Danvers. The last series she had as Miss Marvel, he kind of had that look. Yeah, it's been around for the last few years. I don't know why.
Okay, Machine Man is purple with telescopic arms.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. He is from the 2001 comic book. He was designed by Jack Kirby.
For a guy,
that's what Jack Kirby designed.
For a guy who claims to love robots more than humans, he's making himself look a little more human.
Well, yeah. Well, that was this whole thing. They got mad at Jocasta for wanting to be more human, which
exactly.
Yeah, it's like, Honestly, I'm not. I mean, obviously, he's going to be the jealous boyfriend. I'm trying to remember who was flirting with her in this, because there was someone that they established. Someone had a thing for Jocasta. Was it actually the robot guy too? I know that looked a little creepy when he was like, "Oh, do you eat? Oh, am I being stupid?" But I think there was someone else. There was someone else who made a passing reference to Jocasta. And of course, we do get this whole thing with Rhodey not wanting to be in armor anymore, driving the Manticore. Which is fine, It's all good. But, and Rhodey, and you came back fine, but I came back wrong. Which is, yeah, okay. Like I said, I don't know what they're doing with all this. Honestly, I care. Like, that aspect of the story I'm not interested in, but they're love triangle stories, because there were a lot of those in this, and I like that. I'm trying to remember who it was who had a thing with Jocasta, because there was somebody. I don't have the book in front of me.
Well, I know she was saying, I know when she's walking down the street, she says people are staring at her, but then they show that Friday, they gave Friday a robot body, and the doctor staring at Jocasta and Friday saying, "Oh, this is the best place to work."
Yes, well, it is. Robot ladies are cool. And it was very interesting when she makes the point about being Tony's AI.
Yes.
And how uncomfortable it was. Which, I can imagine if you were a female gendered AI and you were stuck in an armor with Tony Stark, that would get weird fast.
Yes.
Because Tony seems like the kind of guy who makes inappropriate comments to his Alexa. Yeah, so I don't think he's the kind of guy you want. I don't think this guy should have female gendered AIs.
Yeah, in the movie he had Jarvis for a while until it became the Vision.
Yeah, and I think they had a much better relationship because they had a bro relationship. But as soon as he has Friday, I think immediately he starts getting inappropriate.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of maybe a statement to be made here is that, as soon as you, of course, now he's got Motherboard, which is like, oh boy, this gets real Jocasta real fast.
Yeah.
It's a little too Oedipal for my tastes. But that's Tony Stark. And honestly, I think that if they make this book about Tony Stark, it's not going to do as well. But I think if they make it about the supporting characters, there's really good. I've actually forgotten who is controlling the security person.
Oh, Bethany Cabe. Oh, you don't remember who's controlling her? The controller.
Oh, the controller. That's right, the controller.
You were almost there. Who's controlling her?
Yes, yeah, but I forgot because I think. Wait, was that Faustus? Was that Puppet Man? No, it's not Faustus. It's not Puppet Master. Who was that?
The controller with his slave discs. Yeah.
Oh well, that's how you do it. Anyway, so that was good. I read that, and Oh, I read. I don't know if you got the chance, but I actually went back and read some of my older books. I finally read The Champions.
I did not read that.
Oh, it's neat. It's neat. Got a big prediction for you. So I guess apparently there was like something that happened. Like this is all like in like this all takes place like after recent events, which includes the Grandmaster moving the Earth, some kind of run-in with Thanos, and apparently Sam no longer has armor. He doesn't have the thing. And, you know, he's getting the pep talk from Kamala. Big prediction. Sam will become the new Bucky. Because he's gonna have a meeting with somebody, like Cap or maybe Winter Soldier himself. And they're gonna say, you know, a lot of us don't have powers, you know, and like Bucky's gonna say, you know what, I didn't have powers. I was just some plucky kid who, you know, quite frankly was too pig-headed to go away, and you know, and he's gonna get that Bucky uniform, and you're gonna have Bucky on the Champions, played by Sam. And, you know, you'll give him like some kind of cool utility belt, and you know, maybe a Bucky ring or something.
Or unless they give him quantum bands or something.
No, someone's currently using the quantum bands.
Is she still alive? I mean, after Secret Empire, I mean, she kind of...
No, she's alive. I don't think she's dead.
Okay.
I don't think... Oh, but what I loved about this... Oh, it's bearing the lead. Who's our guest villain? He's giant size.
Oh, Man-Thing.
Man-Thing, yeah. He winds up in Africa. And poor little Viv is like fears because she had turned off all of her emotions, but they were still there under the surface, and she burns at the touch of the Man-Thing.
That looks pretty cool. What issue is that?
This is 22. It's in the queue. Go look it up. Read it. It's actually a really good book.
I may.
Yeah.
I know they made some kind of announcement, like how one of they're saying one of the founding members is going to die or something. It's probably going to be Cyclops, because I think with extermination and stuff, they're going to like correct that whole timeline thing and stuff.
Oh heck, Cyclops isn't even in this book, so I have no idea where he is.
Well, they said a founding member is going to die. So.
Well, I mean, honestly, my money is probably on Viv.
Maybe, yeah.
Although there's also a bit about Vision not being the man because they kind of put Vision back together after, you know, the Hulk basically broke him recently, and he's basically saying the damage is a lot worse than we thought.
So it's gonna be like when Byrne took him apart in the '80s, and he like lost all emotional connection to the Scarlet Witch. And what he lost all emotional connection to his daughter now.
Well, no. Actually, that's kind of the point. Is he because in it, Tony Holm makes a point. You know, so what? We just got to take you apart and put you back together again, right? And he's like, you know what? No, I don't want to do that because now that I've created a family, I need to. Basically, his statement is you know, I can't cheat death because death is a part of life and death is a part of having a family, and I can't just walk away from my life. I can't just reboot my life because that would be unfair to my family, who I'm trying to teach to understand life, you know? He only has one, well, technically two, because I guess the dog is him too, which is weird. So, so maybe the founding member will actually be the Vision. Who knows? And then Viv will become the new Vision. Why not?
Yes. Why not?
I'll allow it. I also read Captain Marvel.
Oh, what do you think? Like Captain Marvel #1.
Yeah, Captain Marvel, or The Life of Captain Marvel #1. It was neat. I mean, I wonder how much of any of this has been established prior to that moment. The whole two brothers. And it's weird that we only see one of her brothers.
I know. I'm wondering if that's going to be something with the plot, like if the brother died or...
Yeah. And then, you know, the new brother is all banged up and, you know... You know, even having Captain Marvel as your sister apparently doesn't give you access to Stark-level super science. Because not for nothing, she could say, "Hey, you know, Tony, you know how you were dead and then not dead? You know, my brother's kind of in a bad way. Can you like fix that with your sciencey stuff?"
Maybe Tony can fix it. 'Cause it seemed like he wanted her back on the Avengers. So I think if he could have fixed it, he probably would have.
Or maybe she doesn't want to ask him to, because again, it becomes this way of how superhuman beings cheat death, and maybe that cheapens life in itself.
Well, hey, at the end of this week's Tony Stark Iron Man, he even said he brought himself back, but he doesn't think he brought himself back correctly. So
yes, well, yeah, whether or not he didn't. But it'll be because I think Tony's actually feeling that same sociopathic disconnect from reality. I think maybe that's what that whole adrenaline junkie aspect of it was. That's
what I'm thinking. That's what I was thinking. Almost like, is he maybe saying like he doesn't feel emotions, or maybe he doesn't feel fear anymore? Maybe he's testing his like, I need to find something to make me, I'm not feeling fear anymore.
Yeah, well, and of course, a lack of fear is a dangerous thing.
Oh yeah.
It's like, how, if I brought myself back from the death, am I really, do I value life anymore? Or am I just, to quote another book, which I have to read, because I actually got like the whole series recently in the dollar bill, Plastic Fork, which is a series from the 90s, was one of the avant-garde Marvel series, called Plastic Forks, about basically creating this system that, humans could reproduce asexually. But if humans could just reproduce asexually, you would no longer have a value to human life, and they just become plastic forks, things that you can create, use, and throw away. This is back when before it was like a bad idea to throw away plastic forks and stuff. Back when you could use a straw with impunity. Yeah. Oh, the 90s. A gloriously wasteful time. Peak humanity was the 90s, let me tell you.
We're going to get rid of straws when we still can't get gun control.
No, we're gonna get rid of. Well, we're not gonna get rid of straws. We're gonna get biodegradable straws,
reusable straws.
Yeah, they need, and this is my $1 million idea. If you made straws out of colorform materials, so you could just roll it back up, you could have a reusable straw that you could actually wash.
Oh,
because that's the reason you have a hard time using reusable straws, because you can't wash them. But if you made it out of the same material that you made that rubberized plastic that you make color forms out of, they would seal themselves at the far end, and it'd be a perfect straw.
There you go.
So there you go. $1 million idea to anyone that wants it. Free. This is why you should listen to this podcast, folks. Free ideas.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, I could make it, but I'm lazy. Okay. Any other final thoughts for tonight's episode, Philip?
No, I think we've covered quite a lot.
We have covered quite a lot. Hey, you said you had extra time.
That's fine. That's fine.
I said, well, why don't we start a little later so I can watch Jeopardy with my wife? She says, no, I want that break between my next thing. It's like, you fool. You'll just give me more time to talk.
I mean, sometimes we do go this long, and I don't think we cover half of what we covered tonight. So
yeah, well, that's good. We covered a lot of stuff, and that's what I like. So, Philip, how can people tell us what we forgot to cover?
If anyone wants to get a hold of us, we can always email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. And Charlie will tell you where you can email Superconnectivity, but we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/Superconnectivity podcast, at SuperConnectPod on Twitter, and find Capes and Lunatics on Instagram.
And, of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way Moz and Paz once did, just like the Vision does, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. I got to tell you, I'm waiting for the day that a comic book refers to. It's an ancient form of communication called email. What? How does that work? And, of course, you can always follow me on the newfangled Twitters, where I try not to get myself in trouble.
The danger
like
zone.
Poor Mr. Gunn. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEsselcr. Look for the 2 E's right here, right there in the middle. And what does that mean? Quality. Don't know if you can hear that. There we go. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality. There we go. Anyway, do that. Follow us and connect with us. Thank you for doing so, ladies and gentlemen. And please, next week, super connect with us once again. Gute Nacht. Schlafen Sie gut.
And I forgot, call us. Voicemail 614-382-2737.
That's 614-38-CAPES.
Oh, yeah.
For those who have a phone that has letters on it. 614. What is 614? I don't have the letters on this one. Just got to come with your Klondike 5 kind of.
Kill 5.
So that is 1 second. Oh, you know what? You have one in there, so it's because one's a blank. So